What circumstance in your life right now is challenging your capacity to trust? Is it health? Is it financial? Is it work or career related? Is it someone in your life that you're concerned about? Is it the situation in the world right now? How do we gain access to trust in the midst of these challenges? Why do we lose access to trust? Is it possible to trust in the midst of any circumstance? Perhaps you can call to mind a situation in your life right now, a relationship that is shaking your trust, that is obscuring, making trust inaccessible. And so we can just let that be here with us on our meditation seat. We can let it be in the field, and we can practice letting it show us the way back to divine trust, the one that doesn't depend on external details. And while we're going to let it land on our sacred seat here and let our whole being, just as it is, our whole life, just as it is, land here on our seat, we're going to let go for the next little while of engaging with it. So it's welcome here, but we're going to practice an avenue that is beyond the cognitive mind so that we can access the trust, the divine trust that is beyond any circumstance. So generally, when our trust is shaken, it really does activate the conditioned self's need to take control, to know, to do something. And so we can recognize that. We can recognize how tension shows up in our body as we engage with challenges. And we can let that also be here on this sacred seat. So everything is welcome. But this portal to divine unconditional trust cannot be accessed through the mind. And so we're going to allow the mind to be as it is, but also let go of engaging with it for now. And one of the best ways to disengage from the mind is to put our attention elsewhere. So let's together bring our awareness to our breath, to that beautiful, soothing rhythm of life that has been a friend since the beginning of our time here. And you may find yourself getting hooked back into thoughts, and just be gentle and kindly persistent and bring awareness back to the rhythm of the breath. And we don't have to do anything to the breath. We can trust that it will continue to come. The in and the out. It will continue to change. It'll continue to adjust to our being. And so we can practice trust right here, just stepping back, leaning back, allowing the breath to be as it is, trusting it to find its way, which of course it does. And as we begin to bring awareness to the breath, we will also notice more sensations in our body. We'll become more attuned to our body. And so let that happen and see if you can find that place in you that is willing to allow both the comfort and the discomfort to show up here on your seat. There will always be a blend of relaxation and tension, of comfort and discomfort. Of heaviness and lightness. So we can practice just allowing the body to be as it is. And you could say that we are practicing trusting that the body is exactly where it needs to be, given all the different components of our lives and our lives in the context of the whole, all of life. That the body is always orienting towards balance, and what we're noticing right now is contributing to balance of body, of mind, of heart, of emotion, of soul. All of this is part of that, even though we don't understand the details and the many factors that are contributing to this moment as it is. And notice for yourself how it feels to meet the body in this way. When the one that wants to separate into good and bad, right or wrong, want and don't want, just falls away for a moment. Notice that there can be a spaciousness that comes in, a sense of peace that begins to dawn. And notice that that spaciousness and that sense of peace is coexisting with the uncomfortable sensations that might be continuing. And trusting that that too is part of this unfolding. So we practice trust by practicing allowing the various details of our moment to be as they are. This doesn't take any kind of inner gymnastics. We're simply meeting the moment as it is. There's nothing complicated about that. In fact, nothing could be simpler. We complicate it by believing that there's something that we're missing here. But when we slow down, like as a community like this, and we help each other to settle, to become more still, to open to our moment, it clears the way for an inner peace to show up. And in that peace, oftentimes we can begin to get a taste of that divine trust that exists beyond our circumstance. And along with the physical sensations that we are bringing awareness to, it's very likely that you're also noticing the subtleties of the emotional body, places where you hold stress in your body, the areas of contraction, of heaviness, of swirling, of tightness, of numbness. And so there too, we practice trust here, meaning we just practice letting this moment as it's showing up be as it is. Creating a welcoming space for any emotions that have bravely come forth, being drawn by our collective intention and sincerity here to come forth, to be touched by the light of our shared awareness. And at this point, I invite you to bring in that one situation in your life that is shaking your trust, that is causing you to feel unsafe, scared. Just call it forth and let it come into your body, your being. Let it come into our shared field. And just notice how it activates the breath, how it activates the body, how it activates the emotional body, how it activates the mind and the stories that it tells, the images that it brings forth. And just let it be here. Noticing all of the ways that the system resists or tries to manipulate. And just leaning back into the perceiver of the functions of our conditioned self, which is doing its best to help us. But it's like asking a friend who is still struggling with, I don't know, food or their health or anything for advice. They don't have the capacity to give meaningful advice because they haven't traveled that path yet. And in the same way, the conditioned self doesn't have the capacity to show us the way to divine trust. It actually was created from a place of lack of trust in the true self, in our true nature. But at the same time, all of these mechanisms that the conditioned self brings forward as it struggles with life are ingredients in this alchemical clarification of where life is wanting us to grow and evolve right now. And so we do let them be here, but the difference is that we're not engaging. We're not believing them. We're not grasping them. We're not pushing them away. We're just letting them be here in our spacious awareness. And this practice does take us to the edge of the unknown, which is where we're living anyways, but an awareness that we are in the unknown. But this too is sacred territory. The mystery that we're living is the unknown. The soul unfolds in the unknown. But along with that, as we reach the edge of the unknown and we step back and we allow ourselves to be in the unknown, see if you can sense for something here that trusts this process. Maybe very, very slight, but just see if you can sense that part of you and maybe even feel where it lives in your body. That part of you that knows that all is well. And let that coexist with those parts of you that don't quite trust that yet. This is the space that we're looking for. As we allow divine trust to slowly but surely saturate our life, there is a period where lack of trust and trust coexist. And it's the challenges in our life, and we each have our own things that kind of really bring forth our doubts. It's those challenges that give us the opportunity to practice coming back to this divine trust, the one that doesn't need things to be a particular way. And not only that, the one that knows that all is exactly as it needs to be right now. There's not a molecule out of place in this universe. And then we get to relax, which of course gives us access to intuition, to inner guidance, to evolved perspectives. That we'll complete our time today by allowing ourselves to really orient towards any kind of flavor of trust that you are noticing arising in your body, and really letting yourself steep in that, so that it can become strengthened through our appreciation of it. Where does it live in your body? How does it feel? Oftentimes, when we're in this deep, divinely sourced trust, a lot of the details, even our identity, begins to disappear. And so we have to get comfortable with that. So it's really just about steeping in the feel of it. And the more that we appreciate these soul qualities, and trust is one of those, the more that we appreciate them, the more that we rest in them, the more that they begin to diffuse into our whole being, touching our minds, our nervous systems, our organs, our bodies, our energy centers. It's nothing we need to do except appreciate even the little bit of divine trust that we are sensing in this moment.